Number one, there's a movie with Dave Franco and Allison Brie called Together. I think I got all those names right. And it is a movie in which they are married, and they're married in real life.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right? So they're married in real life. And in this movie, their marriage, I think, starts to like come apart in some way. I haven't seen the movie. Full disclosure.
This is speculation.
I'm familiar enough with the plot where I think this is what happens.
Okay.
All right. So they start to become attached to each other.
Like physically.
Physically attached. So it's on the nose, very in your face, allegory or whatever. It's very clear what they're doing here. Right. So I think it was an Australian production, but it's, for all intents and purposes, it's a US movie with US ethos. So they just released it in China, and studio or audiences in China noticed that the gay wedding now was no longer a gay wedding. So there's a gay wedding in the movie, and in China, they used AI to replace one of the faces of the actors to make one a woman.
Why?
Obviously, the Chinese government is not
different.
supportive of gay marriage. I actually don't know if it's allowed there or not, but either way, they don't want, I guess, to support it. But they used AI to replace an actor's face.
I was watching an interview with the Shark Tank people the other day, and Kevin O'Leary was talking about how he was doing some sort of commercial for something, and he had to fly out to Dubai to do the commercial, and they have like a whole recording studio set up where you sit down, they film you and all this other stuff, but you only need to go once, and all subsequent commercials are done with AI because the cameras are recording your body movements, your tones, like everything. So he went once, they recorded him, got all his motions and everything together, and then future commercials, he doesn't need to be there for the recording. He just needs to approve the script.
So they must like have him say a bunch of different words and phrases, and then...
Yeah, They do. They like track you, they get your tone, they get your voice, and then they can almost perfectly replicate you virtually on a screen.
Wow.
Yeah.
What prevents that from happening?
Nothing.
Without your consent.
Yeah.
Nothing. That's the problem.
That's very scary.
Well, that's like that opener that we had where I was like, how do I know it's you when it's on email or something like that? Global ID.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, how are you going to have the same ID system across all these different platforms?
Yeah.
It's like Apple with Face ID, but...
We had a client yesterday I was talking to. She is the daughter of another client. So it's a multi-generational family household that we're working with. And I asked her what her financial priorities were. But we start every meeting with, what's the most important thing for us to talk about today? Her biggest thing, well, she had a couple. One was that her dad was almost like all of his cash was almost taken out of his checking account. He was scammed. And because she was on the account, she saw it happen. Like if she was not a joint owner on the account, all the cash would be gone. He was convinced that the bank was going under or something. So somebody called him and told him that the bank was going to fail and they needed to transfer the cash out of that into like a backup bank or something along those lines. And he believed it because he's getting old. But because she was on the account, she saw it happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he approved having it transferred to an account that was not his own?
Correct. But he thought it was his own. Like they told him it was. It's like if we called a client and we said, hey, we're opening up another account for you. We're going to transfer it over there, which we can't do. They need to sign paperwork for that.
That's nuts. Yeah, the amount of cyber attacks and things like that are happening. I mean, I'm sure it's actually, I don't know if this is true or not, but my guess is when the internet first came out, it was probably worse. I don't know.
I think the ability to do more damage makes it worse now.
Maybe, but there's way more security in place. Like I remember growing up and having like, if you had your password compromised, like they could just go in and take your stuff.
That's true.
Like so. But I mean, I guess the thing is that this will always exist because whenever a new security protocol comes out, there's people that are going to try to defeat it.
Yeah.
Which is why Fidelity hires all of those people from the IRS.
Right. Well, I think it's also like everything is online now. Like when we were first growing up, nothing was online. My mom didn't have an online access to her credit union.
No,
like
that
it was
didn't
not
exist.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was
I
not a
remember when we
thing.
first got a computer, but yeah, I don't know. Some of the sophistication that's going to be coming out with AI and being able to do these attacks is going to be nuts.
Welcome to the Compound Growth Podcast with Colin and Wheeler, where we talk all things growth. From financial growth to career growth, personal development to societal progress, we explore how each layer builds on the next, compounding over time to shape who we become. Each week, we break down complex ideas and emerging trends into clear, actionable insights. Because growth isn't just about numbers, it's about understanding the world and our place in it. The information in this material is for general information only, and is not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Investment advice offered through Integrated Partners, doing business as Ko-Fi Advisors LLC, a registered investment advisor. Integrated Partners does not provide legal, tax, mortgage advice or services. Please consult your legal tax advisor regarding your specific situation. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investing involves risk, including loss of principal. No strategy assures success or protects against loss. The economic forecasts set forth in this material may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that the strategies promoted will be successful. Jessica Crowley is back with us again today, and Jess, I want to set you up. I'm setting you up for success right off the bat.
I'm glad you're not setting me up for failure.
No. I'm gonna. This is like a volleyball thing, right? I'm gonna just pop it up there, and you're gonna spike it down. Okay.
All right.
So, 2 weeks ago, a week or two, Ko-Fi team was sitting around the table, and Colin came up with one of his fun party questions that he likes to come up with.
I'm glad you brought this up because I was actually going to ask Colin about that.
Let's get it out of the way. So Colin brought up the question.
Yep.
He said, "What kind of animal? No, sorry. What's your favorite animal?" And then that became like, what kind of animal you'd want to be, right?
If you weren't
if
a
you
human,
could be any animal in the world,
right?
Any animal in the world.
All right. So Tori's answer. Tori, I think you said puma,
No, you said
panther,
cougar or something.
cougar. No, it wasn't cougar. She didn't say cougar.
Not like in the mom cougar kind of way, like in the animal way.
Jaguar.
There's a huge difference.
I was very close with panther. I feel like jaguar and panther. All right. So
They're all in the same family.
Yeah.
It's not like I said elephant.
that would be better than saying cougar. I feel like in that
I
situation.
didn't mean it in a derogatory way. I meant the animal.
This is taking a turn. Okay, so Tori would be a jaguar.
Tori.
No, I wouldn't be. That's my favorite animal. This is the difference.
This is the difference.
That's the difference.
You didn't want to be one
No.
because that's a tough life.
Yeah.
Life, just like hunting and
So you wanted to be what?
I forget what I wanted to be though, because then I feel like I changed my answer after what you said.
Yeah. So let's just get to Colin.
Talk about
Oh, we're just gonna
Yeah.
fast forward.
Colin.
I thought this was like a round table.
No,
type
no,
of
no,
thing.
no.
This is
I
just
really want
me.
to talk
We're
about
here to talk about.
all of the
Collins
creatures
was so good.
in the earth.
It is okay. Well, let me back up before I give the answer. So, as I was thinking through animals that I wanted to be, I've thought about this a lot because I won't get into my parents believing in reincarnation. But anyway,
I agree with them, by the way.
yeah, I don't disagree too. But apparently, you can come back sometimes as animals.
Sure.
Which okay.
Why not?
So I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to come back as an animal, I don't want to be prey necessarily, but to be a predator is also kind of crappy because you're having to go out and hunt for food. Most of the time, if you look at like a lion in the wild, we'll edit that out. If you look at a lion in the wilds, they're like starving all the time and skinny.
Huh, that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
And
You
skinny.
also want some sort of social network type deal. Not like in the phone type way, but you want like friends. So I thought ant to start.
Originally.
Okay.
Originally.
Sure. He's,
Thought ant
That's a
because
unique
you have
answer.
great society. You know,
True.
you're protected
That's
from
true.
most things. You have a nice house. You live in a city.
okay. First of all, none of
Nice.
Underground. Look, it's all relative. This isn't the Empire State Building.
None of this was the conversation.
Well, I thought about this more afterwards.
You thought about it after he's
I thought
adding.
about it
No,
afterwards.
same. I thought about it afterwards too,
Yeah.
and then I was like,
It's a
I know what I
thought-provoking
said at the
question.
table isn't what I actually want to be.
Okay, but when you can't like
You're
No, but
You're
I
fixing
stand
it
by
in
what I
post
said.
right now. You can't do that.
Seagull
Yes,
is
okay.
the best answer to this question.
A seagull.
A seagull.
A seagull,
Of
because
all the
you
magical
hang out on the beach
creatures.
all day with your friends.
No, you said with your boys.
With your
It's
boys.
more like
with
I'm
your
hanging out on the
boys
beach
in
with my
particular.
boys.
You get to fly around, which is great. You have no predators. You're protected by humans legally, which you wouldn't even know what that means. But
What do
you can't
mean
kill a
you're
seagull.
protected?
To kill a seagull is illegal.
What?
Yes, that's true.
What
You cannot kill
animals
a seagull.
are legal to kill that are not hunted animals?
Well, I was gonna say any animal that's I could kill a squirrel and the cops wouldn't show up to my house.
Do you think
But-
the cops
but
are going
if
to
you-
come looking for you for a
If
seagull?
you
Shot a
feed if you
seagull.
feed a seagull Alka-Seltzer, you can like get a huge fine. Is that
Well,
not a
that's
thing?
animal
That is
cruelty.
true. No, I know
Oh
that's
my
my
God.
point, and I will be
Okay.
subject to it because I'm a seagull.
Oh, Colin. A seagull.
So that to me is who wouldn't want to fly. You have unlimited food. You chill out on
yeah,
the
you
beach
know
all day
why
with
they
your
have
boys.
unlimited food?
Because they take it
Yes.
from humans.
Yes.
It's an easy supply source, and you also have fish. Right there, you got the ocean.
That same day, I went to the beach, had some work that I could do at the beach.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there, I made my lunch, I went for a run, and then I sat there on the beach eating my lunch.
Looking at seagulls.
Yes, and giving them the evil eye.
Yes,
Yes.
knowing what you'd said
Yes.
already.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, seriously, Colin? I can't wait to talk about this with him and ask him why seagulls.
That's my
They're
logic.
so annoying. And
But if you're a seagull, you're not annoying to yourself.
Maybe I don't know. They're always fighting with each
they
other.
are always fighting.
I bet squirrels find us incredibly annoying.
Yeah, probably.
Well,
We run them over all the time.
That's true.
So
But the seagulls,
Don't
they're
tug at our
always fighting with
heartstrings.
each other. So I'm sitting there,
Okay.
I'm eating my sandwich, and out of nowhere, a seagull comes flying down, grabs my sandwich that I worked hard to make, and
what a great life.
flies off 2 feet in front of me and swallows the whole thing in one gulp.
See, I resonate with that. I resonate with that because whenever Kaylee brings home food, I'm like, you gonna eat that. So
It really
saying.
made the perfect
Yeah, but
one.
it's the perfect match.
But then all the other seagulls got so pissed at that one who ate
Because
the
he
sandwich.
didn't share.
He did not share, and they were yelling at him. And then they came over to me, expecting me to have just some more sandwich for them.
I never said which animal is the most likable.
just the one that you resonate
That's
with.
the one
guess
that I resonate
If
with.
you're a seagull, you don't give a shit if anyone
No, that's the
likes you.
point.
You
That's the
just-
point.
I'm sorry.
You're just a
Colin
seagull.
gives incredible shits what people think about him.
Maybe
so
he doesn't want to. and
Exactly.
being a
I
seagull
won't
would
have
be-
to.
Right.
All right, well, hang on. Give me a better answer than a seagull. Don't just criticize my
Dolphin.
answer.
Dolphins get to play around in the ocean all day with their friends and their family. They
Fair. Dolphins are a good one.
Yeah.
I thought orcas too for a
okay,
while.
yeah.
But
All right, that's better than a seagull.
yes. Okay, orcas, well,
you came in hot there. Like
Yeah.
you were ready.
Oh
Dolphin.
yeah.
orcas
For
are
sure.
family people, but I don't know if they have like friends outside their family. You know, like I don't want to be
I think
with
all
my
those
family constantly.
all those seagulls are frenemies, Colin. They're not like
not real
they're not your
friends.
boys. They're like your boys that like want to steal that sandwich from you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, wouldn't it be annoying to have to come up for air every like 20 minutes?
I think everyone should come up for every 20
But
minutes.
I mean, like,
actually.
I'm
This
just
is a great
no,
time.
no, but I'm just like in the air. If you dive down, it's like imagine going to the store, but then having to come back home every 30 minutes to take a breath from your house.
I think you're looking at it wrong though, because I think it's really fun for them to dive up into the air and
That's
They're
true.
being
I don't know what
playful.
it's like. I actually have a funny story about dolphins. So we did this sailing trip back in 2020 where we like sailed around the British Virgin Islands,
Oh, nice.
and it was Kaylee's family and me, and I hope she doesn't hear this.
We'll let her know.
So we are on the sailing trip, and there are dolphins that came up next to the sailboat, and there's like a captain who's manning the boat, and Kim, my mother-in-law, was like, that's her favorite animal, dolphins. So she got super pumped. And she goes, let's give them something that they can eat. And then she goes, grab chicken. Do dolphins eat chicken?
Oh.
We're like, how could a dolphin get a hold of a chicken?
chicken in the middle of the ocean.
Anyway, that has nothing to do with what animal you would like to be. But dolphins
It's
are
dolphin
valid.
related.
Dolphins are valid. Orcas are valid. But I think flying would be really sick.
That's true. I'll give you that.
You know, and
Flying
you're
would
just
be
as
fun.
happy on the beach as you are in a Walmart parking lot. You don't know the difference.
All right. If I were a bird, it would be a loon. I feel a loon
Yes.
is the way to go because you can fly.
That's true.
You can have you ever watched a loon dive? Like the
Yeah.
way they
Amazing.
they're underwater for like so long, then they come up like halfway across the lake, and the best part is they can kick a bald eagle's ass.
That's true.
So
I didn't know that.
yeah, yep,
I wouldn't want to be an eagle necessarily because I feel
No.
like that's a lonely life.
Yeah.
yeah.
And loons are very social.
Yeah.
They have friends who come visit from other lakes.
hmm
That's fair.
Yeah.
And they
You're
have
late-
mates. They have mates for life.
Yeah.
Okay, so but a loon isn't that far off from a seagull. It's like when I said cougar to
Loons
Wow.
will
panther.
not steal
Wow.
your sandwich.
It's
Totally different
I
world.
think a
They work
loon
for
would
their own
steal
food.
your
A
sandwich.
loon would never
if you
steal your
left- If
sandwich.
you left your
No.
sandwich out.
No.
No, the loon wants nothing to do with you or your sandwich.
Well, I
They
know they're
work hard
afraid
for
of
their
you,
food.
but wouldn't it be nice to not have any fear of humans?
I don't think they're afraid of you.
No.
No.
They've come really close to loons.
Yeah.
They just.
They don't
hang out.
care.
I got to be honest. I haven't researched loon personality recently, so I don't know.
Just
this
from
to
our
be the case.
experience.
In our experience,
What I do know is that seagulls are not scared of you. They will take your food.
They will.
They also have an abundant supply of fish because they're by the ocean.
Right, but do
or
they
at
eat
Walmart.
those fish? No, they'd rather steal your sandwich.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I would rather have a panini too. Just saying.
How do they even eat that thing?
Quickly.
Like one gulp.
Seriously, it was impressive. I have
Yeah.
to say, it was a little impressive. One gulp, the whole sandwich.
I
I
would
just-
have killed that seagull and taken the fine.
I feel like seagulls are my least favorite bird, and they're like Colin's idea.
I feel like they're
I know-
everyone's least favorite bird.
No, I know they are everyone's least
I don't know,
favorite
maybe
bird.
That's why it
pigeons
was
are
crazy when
maybe
you
a
said
close
that.
cousin. And worse.
Probably.
Probably.
Pigeons are actually quite
Pigeons are
smart.
worse than seagulls.
Yeah.
Pigeons
I feel
are
like
smart.
Some people have like a love for pigeons. Though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't feel like anyone has a love for seagulls.
People collect pigeons, like
Collect.
What do you mean collect?
on the roofs of
Like
of-
dead
in
pigeons?
New York. No. They'll have like a little pigeon habitat on the roof,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they'll feed them, and they'll like name them, and they'll have them. This is where carrier pigeons came from. Like the ability to send messages with pigeon is from people having like that training and kind of caring relationship with them.
I feel like seagulls are definitely smarter than pigeons, though.
No way. Seagulls are not smart.
I never said seagulls were smart.
We have.
I said
Okay.
seagulls were smarter than
All right.
pigeons.
We have no
Good job.
right.
Pigeons used to be employed by like the military.
However,
Wow.
Yes.
those are all dead. It is different now.
new generation.
Pigeons are not the same.
This generation of pigeons. What's wrong with pigeons? These
And isn't a dove just a white pigeon?
no, is it
it?
really?
I don't
It
know.
is.
Is that
I
true?
think it is. And so now they're a sign of love too.
Wow.
Pigeons are a sign of love.
But pigeons don't know that they're a sign of love. This is the whole point. If you're a pigeon,
be
you
wrong
don't
about
know
this.
any of these things.
I think pigeons know. They know. They spy on you.
I'm
Yeah.
sticking with seagull.
All right. Well, look,
Wow.
he's a man of conviction.
All right.
Look, when I come back as a seagull, I'm going to be sitting there one day while you guys are eating your sandwiches, and I'm going to steal your sandwich again
In a second life.
in
Yeah.
my second life.
God damn it, Colin.
And you're going to be thinking of me in this conversation.
Why are you dead already? You're like a decade younger than me. It's like
That's true.
He's middle aged.
That's, I don't know, future lives.
oh my god.
They
You know
say
what's
people's
gonna
lives are intertwined, so I'll be the seagull in your next life that takes your sandwich or whatever they have in the future.
Colin,
That's actually really nice.
Yeah.
you know what's gonna kill you early?
A seagull?
Hustle culture. Oh, transition. Boom. Look at that
Hustle
transition.
Smooth there.
The 996.
Wow, that was impressive.
Yeah.
All right.
I do this for a living.
So now that we know everyone's animal, dolphin?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going loon. Loon's a great answer.
Loon.
How are you? I transitioned us and you're still on the dolphins.
Seagull, this, and one thing that all of those animals don't have in common, apart from the panther.
I don't know what I want to be
Jaguar.
anymore.
Why are we
Jaguar.
putting pressure on this situation? I feel like you can
I feel
be.
like I would also pick a bird.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Hummingbird.
birds don't hustle.
Hummingbird. That's a good one.
Birds don't hustle.
Birds don't hustle.
I mean,
I feel like hummingbirds kind of hustle.
Hummingbirds probably isn't my top 3 favorite animals, but not what I'd want to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're so little.
Can we move on from
Can we
this?
move on from this? Sorry, I didn't bring it up for the record.
All right, so
Hustle culture.
we brought Jess back today because I don't know, a couple months ago now, came on to talk about burnout, right? And the causes of burnout, how to identify burnout, how to prevent burnout, which is the most important perhaps. And since then, we've seen an increase in, I guess, awareness or notoriety. People are more aware of this new 996, which is not so new, but this movement in Silicon Valley, San Francisco area, where you work 9 hours a day.
No, it's
9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Right.
6 days a
6
week.
days.
12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And that sounded to me, when I heard it, like the antithesis of what Jess stands for and what Jess is working with. So it seemed like a good reason to bring you back and talk about something that seems to be improving and becoming more popular. And it's, new. It's not new to the world, but it's new to the States.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a newer version of something that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
So the 996 culture actually started in China about 25 years ago.
China.
And it was
China.
actually also in the tech startup industry.
Mhm.
Okay.
And they had this culture of just work as hard as you possibly can and make as much money as possible. And it lasted for a while and then eventually permeated into the rest of Chinese culture, into corporate culture. Until I think it was around 2018, a study came out that linked overwork with death. And in particular, cardiovascular disease, which is the leading cause of death globally.
Globally.
Yes.
Wow.
So when that study came out, people started rethinking, is this actually what we want? Is this what we want to continue here in China? And the answer was no. So they've moved away from it. Actually, in Japan, also, they have a word for death by overwork. I can't remember what it is right now.
Karoshi.
Karoshi, yes.
Yeah.
Ah, you did your research.
I did my research.
So karoshi, they have a word is the opposite of ikigai, which I know you guys have talked about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So where you find your joy and sense of purpose in life. The opposite of that is overwork, death by overwork. So, so fast forward, bringing it to America. So now it's in Silicon Valley, and you have all these 20-somethings who work every waking minute. They also like to boast, I have a PhD, poor, hungry, and
I think it's determined.
I don't think that's actually,
I think
it's
desperate.
desperate.
I think it's
Oh,
desperate.
poor, hungry, desperate.
Yeah, poor,
Yeah.
hungry, desperate. As if it's a badge of honor.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that has maybe changed a little bit, because it feels like Silicon Valley and the tech space in general has had like a hustle culture
Yeah.
for a while. This new badge of honor, it's almost like people have this, like they work 9 to 9, 6 days a week. Maybe they take Sundays off.
But when they take the Sunday off or whatever day, they're not actually taking it off.
Right.
They are going on a bike ride with other people in the industry talking only about work.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's their
Or
whole
their
life.
coworkers. It's,
Yeah.
Every waking minute is living, breathing their mission of their company, which is in some ways admirable that they care so much about what they're building that they want to dedicate so much time to it.
I was going to say Steve Jobs, right?
Mm.
And Steve Wozniak started in their garage and whatnot, and then that grew. But famously, he worked every day, all day, forever. And he's idolized in a lot of ways about building Apple and caring so much that even when he was kicked out of Apple for debatably caring too much, they brought him back because Apple was in the tubes. And when he came back, then things changed and it got better. But that is seen, as you said, in a lot of ways, and you said, as a badge of honor. And that's idolized in a lot of ways.
Right. But Wheeler, it looks like you have something.
Steve Jobs died young of cancer.
I was just going to say, how did that end
Pancreatic
for him?
cancer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so did he ever actually get to enjoy life?
I don't know. See, this is something that I struggle with sometimes too, because sometimes the moments in my life where I was the happiest, I was working the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Hard work, it's not to say hard work is a bad thing or that you can't enjoy hard work, but
Right.
what is it for? What's the purpose?
what is the purpose of work? I don't know. I guess that's probably a little bit different for each person.
Right.
I think for me, it was probably to get ahead financially at the time.
Mm-hmm. And then once you're ahead financially, is that just to say that you have a certain amount of money, or is it to be able to use that money to live?
Well, exactly.
Right.
I mean, what's the point of getting money if you never are able to use it and enjoy it?
Exactly.
Right.
So all these people are spending their whole lives building wealth, but for what purpose? By the time they realize that they've, squandered most of their life on one thing, all of their friends have moved on. Their family may not be around anymore. They haven't spent any time building a romantic relationship, a family of their own, hobbies. They haven't had any time to do any of those things.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, when you go to high school and you graduate, and some people kind of jump into marriage and kids and stuff much earlier, right? Whereas a lot of people will go to college and they'll get out, and maybe their friends that didn't go to college have like a very different life than you do. I think sometimes it's just what's the cultural norm of your group of people, and arguably, the people that you move away from that you were referring to, the friends that have settled down and built a life or whatever. Maybe those are not in the same cultural group as that 996 movement, and then those 996 movement they create that bond with the people that they're with. You know?
I was gonna say, if I was doing that now, I feel like it would be a huge burden because no one else around me is doing that. Like, it's just me, and like no one could relate to it. But if me and 10 of my friends or 10 people at this company that I was close with were doing the same thing and had the same life, like, have you seen The Internship?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like kind of like that. So you have that camaraderie, which is why I think they make the offices so nice in Silicon Valley, because you're there all the time.
Literally even sleeping there. There was a recent Wall Street Journal article that came out about this, where they interviewed a bunch of the CEOs and founders of these startups that are boasting the 996 life. And they have cots with blackout curtains around the cots. And one of the CEOs said, it's like sleeping in a coffin every night, but other than that, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Like, really? Is everything fine, though?
Some of them had tattoos, right? Like tattoos of their they have their corgi tattoo that was like, because that was the symbol of their company.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Which is, I wonder about how representative this is of the time that we're in right now, where you have all of these companies starting up. Like the increase in startups, it expands and contracts, and we're in an expansion mode right now, where there's all this opportunity, this perceived opportunity with AI, with private companies staying private for longer and then increasing your wealth that way versus the public sector, public stock markets, et cetera. I think the question is, why do they do this? Are they trying to, is it for their ego? Are they trying to improve the world?
No, they actually addressed this in the Wall Street Journal article.
Okay.
They talked about it's not about building their wealth, actually, because they can make more money working
doing
as a programmer for a big company.
Yeah.
It's not about making the world a better place. They actually said this.
Okay.
It's about their ego and a sprint to the top of the mountain. So they know that there's currently a lot of opportunity, and they all want to be the first to be the most successful.
Is the top of the mountain gauged by financial success?
I'm not sure what it's gauged by. I think it's probably by market success in the market, being the first to launch the most successful product of whatever it is they're doing. And in a lot of ways, this is what scares me the most, because most of these companies are working in the AI space. So the AI is being engineered by people who are not sleeping or eating or taking care of themselves. And this is what we want our society to be built on. And for people to go to, AI and ask how they should live their lives, built by people who are not actually living life.
Right.
See, I think this might actually be a common misconception, because we're past the point of people defining AI. AI is starting to define itself. It's a learning tool, right? So it just soaks up everything.
It's an amalgamation of all data.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's the more data it has, the more interaction with you it has, the more it becomes its version of itself, right? It's less programming.
But it is engineered by humans. And I think that it's really important to keep this in mind. I have a close friend who is working on a new AI chat.
For moms, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's called Confidant.
Yep.
And it is built by moms for moms because they realized that there's actually a huge hole in the market where you could go on ChatGPT and ask, how would I create an event for International Women's Day? And the response they got was, I can't help you with that.
Now, that's an anecdotal thing that you shared, right?
Correct.
That's something that was shared with your friend. It wasn't her experience. It was
someone who then came to Confidant.
Right. Yeah.
To get the answers they were looking for.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of like the things that they say to watch out with AI, right? There are those things that can happen. And then when we tried it, it planned a great event for us.
Yes.
Right. So that's a learning opportunity, right, for AI.
But someone didn't think ahead of time in contrast, the person had then said, okay, how do I plan an event for men's equality?
Right. And then it had like a great
Women's Equality Day, Men's Equality Day. The ChatGPT had an answer for how to plan an event for Men's Equality Day. So that concerns me.
I find that I'm not debating it, but I find that hard to believe. Like it just didn't, like it has to by nature spit out some sort of factual answer.
Well, sometimes AI will tell you when they're unable, like ChatGPT will tell you when it's unable to help you with something.
Right. Like if you're processing too much data or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the recent thing where people are like, count from 1 to 1 billion?
No. Why would you? I feel like some of the things
people are just messing with it. It's like I can't do that, so they get into these arguments to try to get it to count.
Right.
And, anyway, it says I can't do it because it's too much processing time.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of the stories that we hear, what else is happening around that story. The point is that AI is learning from our current community, right? Our current society and all of our historic knowledge as well. Like so right. I think to your point, Jess, if something permeates the culture and becomes culturally accepted, then that's what AI is going to assume is the accepted way to be.
Correct. So that's what my concern is as it relates to the 996 culture.
Yeah.
If that is the culture and they're creating the technology that's going to then define the rest of society. My concern is that this is going to permeate the rest of our culture and it'll be, making it more socially acceptable to end up in burnout zone.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like a lot of people are fearful of AI cutting their jobs or getting rid of their jobs. And then I know like the amount of hours worked has gone down dramatically over the last 60 years from basically where it was in the assembly line days. But what this is basically saying is because we have these people and companies that are influencing so much our culture right now through AI and everything else, that will have an impact on our own work-life balance.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I know you don't love work-life balance, but the 996.
Because I think the concept is
flawed.
It's very flawed. It's not about balance.
No. Yeah.
So what is the issue with, okay, I'm going to put this another way. When you're a young parent and you have young children, you've pointed this out in the past when I've complained about some of my longer days, and you provide perspective. Do you remember back when? Do we remember when our daughter went to daycare from 8 to 5:30, and then before that we're getting her ready for daycare and getting our day going. After that, coming home and taking care of her until she went to bed. Is that different than that? It's just as exhausting as 996, right? Being a young parent. So is it the lack of variety or dedication to the wrong thing? Like, what is the issue with 996?
It's that you're putting all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
And then what happens when that one basket goes away?
Yeah.
So my concern with these people is that they're putting their entire identity on one thing.
Yeah.
And you talk a lot on this show about balance and from the perspective of not being perfectly equal in every bucket, but about having to diversify your life the same way you diversify your portfolio.
Totally.
So if you're going to do everything on one thing so obsessively, you're defining your entire identity around this one thing, your work, and that becomes really flat. You're a one-note person who has no interests outside of that one mission.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens to all of those people who are sprinting their way to the top of the mountain and they're not going to succeed with their product in the way that they are dreaming of? Because I would also argue that whatever success they're chasing is not going to be enough for them. There's always going to be more.
Probably fair. Yeah.
So they're always going to feel not quite enough.
Yeah. I heard something the other day that I thought was kind of interesting that I'd like to get your take on, which is, I think, basically the saying is that society has life backwards for a lot of people, where when you're young, you're prioritizing school and that's all well and good, but then you graduate from college and then you're supposed to get into this career and you're supposed to sink your teeth into this career, very similar to what we're talking about. And this career needs to be your sole focus for the first 10 to 15 years of your graduation. Then once you've made it, you can then start thinking about family.
Mm.
And it's just that's backwards. It should be your family should be first and your social network should be first, because you can always do your career.
Yes. Yeah.
That was Charlie Kirk that said that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I saw this 2 nights ago, actually. It was pushed to me. And I was just like, that's an interesting thought, because I would have thought, well, I've never considered that. But that's a good point, because everybody's rushing into this career to try to tackle this mountain.
Right.
But the mountain's always going to be there. And Kaylee's struggling with that a bit right now, because she's been going to PA school and all this other stuff. Now she's graduated, but she's 30 and she's like, I wish I would have started my family sooner, because I could have done a PA at any point, in my life. But I feel so much pressure from society to be and do this while I'm young.
Yeah. I think it's tricky, because when you're young, you have more energy to
do these
continue the graduate studies. And I speak from experience on that. I took 8 years off from between my undergrad and my master's degree. And I was with all these recent graduates, and I felt like the old one at, age 28, 29.
Yeah.
And I had more trouble getting back into school when I was, 8 years out, because I had taken that time off to work, but it was
right.
So I think also imagining having a young family and then going back to school, logistically, that's pretty tricky.
Yeah.
So I think it's also not about do this and then that. It's more of an integration. And that's why I like the idea of work-life integration better than work-life balance, because it's not about choosing one thing over another. It's about figuring out how to weave them together in a way that makes you a more interesting, dynamic, well-rounded person.
That's fair. Yeah. Do you think society rewards you these days for that balance?
I don't know. I guess it depends what your idea of
reward is. I don't know.
Yeah. Either. Who is society? What are we looking for from society? Acceptance from society? I think the Charlie Kirk thing that you just brought up, I'm confused, because to your point, it suggests that there are just chapters in your life and you should reorder the chapters. And I'm not sure I understand how. It's almost like, what would be really great is if you only watch TV with your eyes closed, and then you could really hear the audio better. It's like, what? Why does that?
Blind people are a thing.
What would be great is if you could start a family and then also have all the money you need to pay for daycare and to save for college.
Well, that wasn't the point. Hang on. So that wasn't the point. The point is that people are putting off having families until they have their career set.
I don't know that's. I think they're putting off family until they're ready. The reason I think a lot of people put off family is because they're not ready to settle down into that life. There's so much responsibility that comes with having a family. It's not about getting to the CEO seat and then having a family.
I totally agree. I think actually, when I think about myself, if I had been a mom at age 22, I was nowhere near ready.
Right.
Yeah, neither was your husband.
My brain was
Yeah,
not
I
fully
definitely wouldn't have been
developed.
either. Yeah.
So the idea of just launching a family right away just because society or someone says you should is a horrible idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to figure out who you are and what you want in life before you introduce another life.
But that's exactly it for a career too. Like at
Yeah.
22, I had no idea what I wanted to do as a career. And I really didn't know that I even wanted to be an advisor until I was in my late 20s.
Right.
But you go and you do all these things and you try. I mean, I can say personally, I have put off having a family because of finances. So that to me is something that I've thought about a lot as we talk about it more. But with Kaylee's like, well, I would have had a child at 24 if I could have, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
I think
different.
the issue that I have with this is actually the gender difference. So
Yeah.
if people were to take that approach, the gender divide between men and women succeeding in the workplace would just deepen because
Fair.
Yeah.
the studies show how difficult it is to re-enter the workplace once you've taken time off.
100%.
So if you haven't even put in the time to figure out what kind of work culture you like, it's not even about the job. Like, what kind of environment do you want to be in?
Right.
If you haven't even spent any time doing that, then how would you even know where to begin re-entering, quote unquote, the workplace?
Well, that's the thing is like, I know that if I was in a corporate job or one of these 996 jobs, if I was to have a child, that would set me back years.
Yeah.
You know, and if I was in Europe though, and if I had a paternity leave that was set up and governed in a way that it was appropriate to do that, and I didn't set me back, that'd be a completely different story. But I mean, most companies, even the company we just left, I mean, paternity leave was a thing for 2 weeks.
I mean, I didn't have paternity leave. So I don't think though, my point with I think the misconception or what's lacking in the comment that you brought up is that there is no world in which you're rewarded for establishing a family first. So it doesn't matter what you think should be done societally. It's not going to change. So this is the world that we are operating in. And I think you brought up something. We were at our daughter's open house, back to school night the other week. And they were talking about how in 6th grade they do a career test. What's that called?
Exploration.
Career exploration thing. So they
cool.
You're going to be a doctor, or you're going to be a teacher, or not you're going to be, but it sounds like you would be a good
pick one and you research it and you present it to people in a poster and explain, what does it mean to be a professional.
But they also do an exam where they get an assessment. Thank you, where you get these results. And you said something that I thought was really good about not imagining what kind of job you want to have in the future, but what you want your life to be.
Yes,
I always said that to Kaylee.
Exactly, it's about designing your life.
Right.
And so I asked Michaela if she'd be cool with it because they asked for parent volunteers to come into this class, and I asked Michaela if I could go in and talk about the life design process and asking the kids, okay, I know you're excited to explore these different careers, but before you do that, I want you to think about when you grow up. So picture yourself 10 years from now. What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of environment do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a city or in the country? Do you want to live with a bunch of friends? What do you want your life to look like? And surprisingly, she was actually excited about the idea of me coming in.
Yeah, well,
but she said, only one of you.
She's like, Mom will come in for this, and I said I would come in and talk about finance. And she's like, both of you?
Yeah.
Like,
no, one or the other.
Yeah, it's just, and then she realized that might hurt somebody's feelings. So then she's like, no, you can come in too. It's fine. I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. I was talking with my sister the other day, and she is a surgical oncologist, which, took her a lot of years to get to that point. Now she's 38 and is just settled in her career. And she was like, if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't. And she was just like, me and all my friends have so many regrets, like, about this life that we've chosen. She's like, I make a lot of money, but I have no free time. I don't have a family. My social circle's very tough. She was just like, if I would have gone back, I would have prioritized things completely differently. But when you're young, you think, oh, I should make money. I should have this big career. I should do all these different things. But now that she's in it, and it's tough.
So it's a different version of the 996.
Probably it's probably 8, 12, 7.
Yeah,
the same end result is there, that she doesn't have enough time to spend on other things.
And that's our healthcare system. But the problem is that no one wants to change the healthcare system, because no doctor that went through that wants another doctor to come up without having gone through what they went through. And that's like a tough situation.
Yeah. I wonder if that's true, or if, the doctors themselves can't change the system.
It's probably both. I don't know. We talk about this a lot.
Yeah.
Like, whether or not you would want a financial advisor to have as much success so quickly without having to go through the grind.
Yeah, because it's easier to bring somebody in to work with clients and say, these clients would really benefit from some extra support. We'd love for you to work with these clients, versus you hire somebody and say, go find clients, right? So it's easier to set them up that way, and it's easier for them, right? For the young advisor starting out. But then they don't have some of the life experience, or the experience of building something and owning something and creating relationships that mean more maybe than they should. But it's just like a process that you can kind of fast forward through, or you can live it.
So it's not about the hazing. It's about gaining the life experience in order to have that inform what else you do in that career.
Yeah.
Because you need that skill set.
Need is a different, it's not that it's necessary. It's just that there are two different paths, and we don't know which is the right one. And I think that's really like an important thing to focus on. In general, we shouldn't sit here and say, don't do 996, don't have a family when you get out of college.
I'm sorry, I'm going to say don't do 996 because I actually think it's really unhealthy.
But I don't want to put things on people. I hear what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. But I also want to make sure that we're arming people with information and allowing them to make their own choices.
Right.
And I think we don't, for example, Colin's sister, regretting the med school. I don't think she should be living and saying, I regret this. I think she should learn. Regret isn't the right choice. But
my question for her is, what's stopping her from making a change?
She's going back to school.
There you go.
Amazing.
Yeah, for another 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
For what?
So she's thinking about going back and doing dermatology.
Okay.
Yeah. So
because it'll give her more time,
freedom and flexibility. Yeah.
But she can't. My point there is not necessarily that she can make a change. It's how you look at the past. And I was listening to Matthew McConaughey has another book that just came out, and he was on the Rethinking podcast with Adam Grant, and I was listening to that.
I saw this. Yeah.
And he was talking about we treat mistakes as if they're still happening. And we are embarrassed or ashamed because we made this mistake in the past, even though that's not you right now, that's you back then. And if we look at that and we feel shame about this mistake we did or we made, then we're reliving it. We're not ever escaping that mistake. And instead, we should be able to look at it and learn it and look at it with hindsight and say, what a stupid thing I did. I'm so happy I'm not that person now. Or something that shows progress. Right. So you're looking at the wrong.
Hopefully the guys work, because it's mostly guys working the 996.
Yeah.
They're living that. Hopefully they will get to a point where they'll realize they want more out of life. And they can look back at this time, not with regret or looking at it even as a mistake, but learning from it. And I know you talked about this recently with Tori about how it's not about regrets, only lessons learned.
Right. Yeah. Character building moments.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I've changed careers 3 times, and every time I haven't looked at it as a mistake. Or,
right.
I went to grad school right after college for interior design while I was working full time in that industry.
Yeah.
And then after a semester, I realized that's not the route I wanted to continue on. But that wasn't a mistake. And now, full circle, I look at myself as a life designer. So
Yeah.
I'm integrating some of the design principles I learned in that first career and integrating it into what I do today.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I look back at, I say the things that I went through and we were grinding it out in the beginning, I think like that was one of the happier times in my life. Like I was kind of saying when I was grinding it out a lot in the beginning. And now I look back on it and I have to say like I'm proud that I was able to get through that. But, you know, of the 92 kids that we started with, it was me and Jason, one other person that made it through, and the other 90 didn't. But it's proud when it works out. I don't know what it's like on the other side, but I've failed at other things too that I tried really hard at. So I guess what I'm saying is I think hard work is really great because I think it would be really difficult to be proud of where you're at if it's just easy, you know?
True.
And that's where I kind of
I don't think
it.
the issue is about hard work. It's about not leaving yourself time to be anything other than that one identity.
Yeah. It's like if it's one thing to work hard, but it's another thing when you're right, like it's your whole identity.
Yeah.
And that's what you use to like literally carry you through your life.
Right.
I think it's go ahead.
It's not about that being your entire sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
If that is, then what happens when that thing doesn't work out or isn't as good as you imagined it would be?
Right. Yeah. So we're not saying that hard work is bad.
No.
We're saying hard work is good. But what we're also saying is that when
Leave time
you're
for other things.
only doing work and that's your sole identity, and that's actually where we see a lot of people struggle with retirement.
Exactly.
Because when
Right.
people retire and their whole life has been their career and they know nothing else, then what do you do with your time?
Exactly.
And all of your self-worth that was tied up in that.
Right.
So then what?
Exactly.
I think it's really important to understand why people are drawn to the 996. It's kind of like you guys have talked, both of you brought this up today. Is it money related? Is it not money related? Is it like what's the top of the mountain? What's the summit? I think for some people, it's because they can look at the Steve Jobs or the
Right.
Jensen or the Sundar or Elon or any of these guys, and they say, you know, they're like heroes to those people, right? It's like when I was a kid, we had sports heroes. That was like the biggest thing that I think most people, most young boys anyways, would aspire to be like a sports hero first before other things. And then it seems like those heroes get replaced by other maybe role models or people you respect or whatever. But there are these there's the Mount Rushmore of tech heads, tech CEOs, tech leaders, tech
Icons.
founders, icons, etc., that they respect and they aspire to be. And I think there's probably a sleeve of founders, 996 folks that would do it for that reason. And then maybe some that would do it for finance, financial gain. And then others for a completely different, personal reason. Like when I'm drawn to 996, like I feel myself sometimes saying, oh, well, how much could I achieve? Like, how much could I do with that time? What else could we do with this company in that time?
Mm-hmm.
When I feel that, it's not for financial gain and it's not to be Jensen Wan. So what is it? Like, where is that coming from? And I think that if you can identify where that's coming from, you can understand it and then determine whether that's the path for you or not.
I think about it in two ways, which is one, as a competitive person, I see it as a win. Like when something goes well in the business, I see it as a win. Or like if I was to put myself in the shoes of someone that's in the 996, if I got $1 billion of seed funding in my company, I would be like, that's a win. Or an IPO is a win. So to me, that's like a competitive thing is the way that I would probably see it. The second thing is I agree with you that I don't think it's financial. I think it's probably tied to maybe some notoriety or ego.
Yeah.
It's definitely ego driven.
Yeah. Mine isn't. Mine's more shame driven, I think.
Okay.
Which is the opposite of ego.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah.
What do you say more about that, Wheeler?
Well, I mean, we were talking about this recently. I feel like I have a need to do more. Tori asked me a month ago, maybe. She's like, what's working right now? And I said, nothing.
There's a lot that's working right now.
Yeah.
You just got to know where to look.
I don't even know. Was it working? I think you said something like what's working or what's.
the conversation.
We were just talking at the
What's going
conference.
right?
Yeah, what's going right?
Oh
right,
yeah,
right.
what's going right?
Yeah.
Like what would you keep? You wanted to reframe every single process we had.
Yeah.
And I was like, but what would we keep? And he was like, nothing.
I'm glad I
Nothing.
wasn't here for this one.
Nothing is done, right? And actually, it's funny because I'm easily influenced by things I just hear, right? And I just heard this Matthew McConaughey interview, so now I'm bringing it up twice in this podcast. But he was talking about how he can be both incredibly proud of the work he put in to earn the Oscar that he received, and also feel like it was not all the way there. Like there was something else. He doesn't feel like he should have done something different, but at the same time, it's not nirvana. It's not like the best thing. And sometimes you don't know in the moment. Like he's proud of the movie. He's proud of the work. He put everything he had into that role, and it's done. And he can't go back and change anything. And now that performance has its own life that it lives. You know, you can have something like Dazed and Confused, which set him up for his career. And that was, nobody went to see it in the theater. It was not like a hit in the theater, but now it's a classic movie that we all look at. At the same time, you can have something like, Interstellar, one of the big movies that he was in that people went to see in the theater, and then they, kind of fall off. And then 10 years later, Interstellar is a big hit again, right? The point is that like the life that you live and the choices that you make, they outlast whatever they were in that moment. And
so it's legacy.
Yeah. And which is something I always think about too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I think that's like creating art. Like he's very focused on art.
That's
I
true.
think it's very different to bring that into like this workspace.
Well, I agree and I disagree. So to Wheeler's point, to stick up for that, I don't think Steve Jobs would have built Apple if he didn't have that in his mind to be a forever company, or to at least make a huge impact in the trajectory of the world. The same way that Sam Altman probably thinks of that with AI, in the same way that Wong thinks about that with NVIDIA. Like, I think a lot of these men, to go back to the ego, are trying to put their stamp on the world, which I resonate with. Like, if I could, like, I think that would be kind of a cool thing, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's impact. Like, there's a difference between art and impact. Like, we can leave an impact here, but it's not like we're creating something that is like art.
I think you're both right, and it's inextricably linked. And that's the issue, is that when I listen to the Founders podcast and I study all these founders and I understand their approach, the Steve Jobs approach to arts, et cetera, I can't separate it anymore from the McConaughey approach. And it's all blended together in my head. And then I don't know what the Wheeler approach is.
Have you seen the movie Troy with Brad Pitt?
No.
Yeah, it's been
a long time.
I actually remember the movie theater I was in where I watched that.
Yeah, great movie. I haven't seen it in forever too, but there is this one line that you just mentioned that brings this kind of back for me, which is he's debating on whether or not to go to this huge war, and he's the number one warrior in all of Greece. And he was just like, well, why would I even want to do this? I hate the king. And he was just like, what is it that all men want? And he was just like, what? He was just like, to be remembered. Yeah. He was just like, if you go to this battle, you will always be remembered. And then he immediately left and went.
I think the question is, what do you want to be remembered for? Do you want to be remembered just for the sake of people knowing your name, or do you want to be remembered because you left a positive impact on the world?
Yeah. Well, what's the Maya Angelou quote, right?
People remember the way you made them feel. Like
People won't remember what you
said or did, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
Right.
And actually bringing it back to the life design idea, it reminds me of the John Lennon quote, which I told Michaela I want to share when I go into her class. When he was in kindergarten, they had an assignment, and the teachers asked them to write down what they wanted to be when they grew up.
Yeah.
And he said, happy. And they said, you didn't understand the assignment. And he said, you don't understand life.
In kindergarten.
In kindergarten, supposedly.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
But they don't even have kindergarten in England. So whatever.
Right, but it's like, do you want to be remembered as someone who just, worked super hard and didn't have relationships? Or do you want to be remembered as someone who lived a happy life and created more happiness in the world?
Gandhi.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you
want to be Gandhi?
Yeah. What do you want to be remembered for?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a big question. I guess I want to be remembered as someone who lived a happy life and created more joy and love in the world.
Yeah. I love that, of course.
That is nice.
I mean,
That's why I find
heart rocks.
everywhere I go.
I like that, by the way. Wheeler was telling me about that the other
Well,
day.
Tori's mom does it too.
I love that. I already love your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the point is that it's all around us. You just have to be open to seeing it. And once I started finding these heart-shaped rocks and realizing there were so many that I couldn't keep them all and I wanted to give them away, then I started finding more and more, because that's what the universe is just there providing us with wonderful things. We just have to be open to seeing them. And if you're inside your office building, 996,
you
you're
won't
definitely
find
not
heart
finding
rocks.
that.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. We talked about this in some shape or form before, but there's a lot of value to being a generalist, and the world needs specialists, I think, to a degree. But it used to be in the medical field, everybody was a generalist, and now everybody's a specialist. And now they don't know how to think generally. They only think what they are trained to be very specific in thinking about. And when we talk about like a young advisor kind of going through the process, that's becoming a generalist. If we talk about the people who are just dedicated to one thing for 996, which I like how we call it like the 996. It's like a game or something like that.
Or it's a zip code or something.
Yeah. But I think if you dedicate yourself only to one thing, then you become to your point, a very narrow person.
Right. And you don't know how it fits in with everything else, because you're so, pigeonholed into one thing that you don't really understand the big picture. So you're just, living life with blinders on.
Yeah.
What do you want to be remembered for? You can't steal
I have all these heart rocks that I collect, and I leave them everywhere. What I think actually I struggle with is I don't think that I can be remembered. I don't think I'm capable of being remembered for like what I want to be.
Wow, this sounds like a whole other episode.
Yeah,
to dive
this
into.
is like a therapy session that we need to do at some point at The Alchemist. But I think that in general, I want to be. I've been in meetings where I can see where I provide some sort of relief and comfort and happiness for my clients, and those moments I can identify them, and I can say this is what I want. I want them. They're going to leave this conversation and they're going to remember the way I made them feel, and I want that in general in my life. And yet, I have a hard time getting there. Like when we were setting up for the podcast today, and like arranging the equipment and like people not sure where to sit and standing and whatever, I could feel the room was not at ease. And I could feel that. And I'm like, I'm not putting the room at ease right now. I am just like focused on the task at hand. And we're setting up the energy going into the recording of this episode is not right. And I could see that. And I'm like, I got to just take a deep breath and address that. But I think I am too often uptight or like worried or whatever, and that gets in the way of me making the mark or leaving the mark that I want to leave or make.
So you're not convinced you're leaving the mark you want to make?
Correct. Yeah.
I feel like you are probably a little too hard on yourself when it comes
well,
to
that's
this.
part of the issue.
That is definitely part of the issue.
Yeah,
And
because
I think that
go ahead.
What you guys do here is all about leaving a positive impact, and the legacy planning that you do with people, that's going to help people for generations to come, because you're breaking a lot of negative patterns.
Yeah, I
Hopefully.
think.
Yeah.
Well, definitely. I mean, that's if we weren't helping people, then we wouldn't be very good at our jobs.
Yeah.
You know, so by the mere fact that the business is growing and you're getting referrals, you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You know,
But at the same time, the reason that I think that I used to feel like the reason that we were good at it, or I was good at my job in anyways, because I cared so much, right? But I think that worrying about things being a certain way, telling Tori nothing is good enough, and sitting here thinking about like how I should be doing more shoulds. I have a lot of shoulds. I have a lot of shoulds. I have a lot of shame. I have a lot of like push. And I used to think that made me a better advisor. And I think it actually gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm trying to reconcile right now.
I think you need to spend more time with Tori.
Well, this is why I met Tori, and I'm like, for our first interview, I was like, I need that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm glad I give that off right away because I wouldn't think I'd do.
Yeah.
You
I
do.
was like,
You're a
she's
very calming presence.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
calm, and I felt like confident, and that was like, okay,
I wouldn't.
I need that calm in my life.
You've seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall,
Of course,
obviously, with
yeah.
the, do less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pop up, nope,
Yes.
do less.
Nope.
Do less, get down.
Do
Don't
less.
even do it. Yeah. But
Think
I feel
small.
like sometimes you need a little bit of that.
Yeah, I know. Which is the opposite of the 996.
Yes.
Right.
That is.
So-
I appreciate
some
that.
balance.
I think every time I start to feel that 996 pull, I should identify it and name it, call it what it is, and
Yes.
say,
Yeah.
okay, I think let's go to the movies.
Yes.
Have some me time.
Have some me time.
Yeah.
Jess, was there anything else that you wanted to say before you left? Our first two-time guest.
Oh, thank you. Thanks
Yes,
for
that's
having me
right.
back.
Yes, first
Yeah,
two-time
it's
guest.
always
Yeah.
fun.
It is fun. Yeah, we like these.
And next time, I think we should dive more into that, and I want to hear more from Colin and Tori on what you want your legacy to be.
There's not
What you
enough
want to
time.
Be remembered for.
Oh, yes.
There's never enough time.
Yeah,
That would be a great episode.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
All right. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for today's episode of Compound Growth. The 996 culture might sound appealing when you're early in your career and eager to make some progress. But as we discussed, it's not a lifestyle we'll be adopting. Hustle has its place, but it's just as important to build something sustainable, something that allows you to grow without burning out. A big thanks to Jessica Crowley for joining us again and sharing her insights on burnout and the signs to watch out for. Whatever path you're on, remember, success isn't about working harder. It's about designing a life that you can actually enjoy living. We are adding in a mail grab episode once a month to answer your questions, so please reach out with your questions that need some answering. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Compound Growth.
Compound Growth with Wheeler and Colin. Sponsored by Ko-Fi Advisors. Reach out today. Yay!